This is the first of our 3 big story problem lectures. At least the story problems we'll be doing in 2 variables. We've already covered story problems in 1 variable much earlier in the course. So just to start with, this is a very simple example, and I know it's not a hard problem to solve, but I just want to establish a pattern with it. Let's say that we go to Smith's and we buy 9 cans of soup for $1.50 each, 5 boxes of cereal for $3 each, and then we see the soap on sale for $2 a bar and we buy a bar. What is your bill? Pretty easy to figure out. For soup, it would be $1.50 times 9. For cereal, it would be 5 times 3. And for soap, it's just another $2, or we could think of it as being 2 times 1 because we get 1 bar of soap. So look at what we did. Okay, so that would give us the subtotal for soup, subtotal for cereal, subtotal for soap, gives us $30.50. Notice that to get the total, we took the price per item times the amount. The price per item times the amount. The price per item times the amount. That's kind of this pattern that we'll be looking at in the next several story problem types. So the cost, just kind of the basics. If I'm looking at a cost model, it's my per would be my price per item. My amount would be my number of items. For sports, my per might be my points per goal. My amount would be the number of goals. For simple interest, my per would be my percent. My amount would be the money I invest, my principal. And I'd want to add on another column for time. You don't need to think of it this way, but for some people it is helpful to think of these just being all 3 subsets of the same problem type. So if we went shopping, we'd have $1.50 per can of soup times 9 cans of soup and 3 boxes of cereal, or $3 per box of cereal, 5 boxes of cereal, $2 for a bar of soap, 1 bar of soap, and I'd have my soup subtotal, my cereal subtotal, my soap subtotal, which would give me $30.50. Same thing as what we did on the last page. So let's say that Tanya bought 3 adult tickets and 1 child ticket and spent $23. Lee bought 2 adult tickets and 5 child tickets for $30.50. Find the cost of an adult ticket and the cost of a child ticket. Remember that the very first thing that we want to do is make a key. So I'll say A is the cost of an adult ticket. C is the cost of a child's ticket. So for Tanya, she got 3 adults and 1 child, and she spent $23. The cost per ticket times the number of tickets. The cost per ticket times the number of tickets equals the grand total. Okay, for Lee, she got 2 adult tickets and 5 child tickets. Cost per ticket times the number of tickets. Cost per ticket times the number of tickets. And spent $30.50. So notice what we have right here. We have 2 equations and we have 2 variables. We know how to solve that. 3a plus c equals 23, 2a plus 5c equals $30.50. That's completely easy to solve using either one of our methods. If you did substitution, what would you solve for? Good, you'd want to solve for c in that first equation. If you did elimination, and of course for substitution you can choose to do anything, but that would be the easiest thing. If you wanted to do elimination, what would you do? You could eliminate the a's, but that's not easiest. You could eliminate the c's by multiplying the top equation by -5. So I want you to look at a system of equations and anticipate which method is going to work best and what you would do for each one of those methods. So let's take our system of equations right here. If we did elimination, so we multiplied the top equation by -5, I want my c's to cancel. Then my a would be negative 15a minus 5c equals negative 115. Just taking everything in that equation and multiplying by -5. Now let's see if I set that up to be done by elimination well. I did, because my c's are going to cancel. Don't add your equations unless you're going to get a variable to cancel. My c's will cancel when I add them together, so I'll go ahead and add. And I get negative 13a equals negative 8450. Divide both sides by negative 13 and a equals 6.5. Plug that into either equation, it doesn't matter which. So we get 19.5 plus C equals 23. Subtract 19.5 from both sides and I get 3.5. So an adult ticket is $6.5 or $6.50. And a child's ticket is $3.5 or $3.50. So that is an example of a cost equation. Let's do one more cost equation. Let's say we have 2 video games and 3 DVDs and they rent for $19.15. If I rent 4 video games and 1 DVD, my total is $17.35. Find the cost to rent 2 DVDs. So again, the first thing I start with, good, is my key. I'll say V is how much it costs to rent a video game. D is how much it costs to rent a DVD. So 2 video games and 3 DVDs. My cost per item times the number of items. My cost per item times the number of items equals my grand total. 2V plus 3D equals $19.15. And similarly, 4 video games and 1 DVD give me $17.35. Now look at what the question's asking. What does it want me to find? It wants me to find the cost to rent 2 DVDs. So I'm looking for 2D equals what? Just so that we know in the back of our head that's what we want to answer at the end. So here's my system of equations. I could do elimination or substitution. If I did elimination, really I could go either way. I could multiply the top equation by -2. That would let me eliminate the V's. Or I could multiply the bottom equation by -3. That would let me eliminate the D's. But just to mix things up, let's do this one with substitution. What variable would I solve for and why? Okay, good. Look at that D in the second equation. Since it has a coefficient of 1, that's the easiest thing to solve for. So D would equal 1735 minus 4V. Put an asterisk or a star next to that because I'm going to come back and use it. But first of all, I'm going to plug that into my first equation. So I have 2V plus 3D, but D is really 1735 minus 4V, equals 1915. So I plugged that equation, that expression for D, into the first equation. I solve for D in the second, so I plug it into the first. Okay, I distribute, so I have 2V plus 52.05 minus 12V equals 1915. Now I want to look and combine like terms. I have a 2V and a -12V, so that will give me -10V. Now I want variables on one side, numbers on the other. Subtract 52.05 from both sides. So I get -10V equals -32.9. So V equals 329. Now to find D, I come back to that first thing written in white because I have a little star next to it. Well, I didn't type it, but in your notes, I hope you wrote it. Plug in 329, and I get D is 419. Now remember the question was how much does it cost to rent 2 DVDs? So it costs $8.38. 2 times 419 to rent 2 DVDs. Those are my cost examples, and we will do the next examples in the next video.